it's been a long time. It's been a few months since we've recorded. Got to get
loosen up, baby. Loosey goosey.
Loosen up those. I'm gonna say loosen up those lips, but that's a
bit weird.
Horrible sounding sentence.
Forget that you said that.
Yeah. Let's just jump straight into it. Play that funky music.
White boy.
Hello everyone and welcome back finally to another episode of the Figure Forecast. I am King Damo and I am joined as always by my good friend Sam. Sammy Drip Drip as
Sammy Drip Drip.
we sometimes call you. It has been a while, but how have you been?
I've been fine. Lots of things been going on in wrestling, in my life, in your life.
Yeah. I believe the last episode was in the build to WrestleMania. I think we did a pre-WrestleMania episode and haven't since.
It's
So
quite
there is a
unbelievable,
lot
really, isn't it?
to talk about.
How's that happened?
Life has gotten in the way a bit.
That's like 6 months nearly? April?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months.
You got to do the song. January, February, March. Here we get to April. April, May, June and July. Yeah, so nearly 5 months.
Yeah.
That is generally how I remember the months. It's the only way I can remember them.
I just know months like an adult.
Well, gotta have some fun in your life, man.
So we'll talk about it for most of this episode, but just obviously the thing that's brought us back, Vince McMahon has retired.
Yay!
What a ridiculous sentence I never thought we'd say on the podcast.
No, it was always, right, WWE will only change when he dies. That's the only time he's ever going to leave, really, isn't it?
And,
to be morbid.
And given how old his mum was...
100 or something.
Like,
100.
We was expecting this to be way off in the future.
Yeah.
But no, it's happened. We'll talk a little bit about why and what the future may hold shortly, but...
Because he's a dirty sleazebag.
There are a few big topics that we've missed over the last couple of months, so it would be an injustice to not dedicate a few minutes to them. Obviously, we'll go back to WrestleMania, was where the first one started. Cody Rhodes re-debuted in WWE.
Surreal.
A weird moment. He had his entrance music. They didn't do the little...
He's Cody Rhodes.
Well, yeah, he's AEW's Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
They didn't do the fake out with the Stardust music like I edited. But great match at Mania and some great matches since.
A series of matches with Seth frickin' Rollins, soon to potentially be Seth fucking Rollins.
Yeah.
If we go to TV 14, that's another thing.
That's another thing. Blimey, so much. I normally don't like the repeat matches, but all three of those were so good.
They were great, weren't they?
That you kind of can't hate it. When you get a good match, you can't hate that it's a duplicate of a match sort of thing. But
and of course, the last one he had half his body hanging off of his shoulder.
Yeah.
With his torn pec.
Like, fair play for doing it. It's the sort of thing that you don't want anyone to do. No one should have to fight hurt, but
no.
He clearly wanted to.
It certainly added something to the match.
Yeah, I think it's WWE's first 5-star match from Dave Meltzer in a number of years, which no matter what your thoughts on his star rating, it's still kind of just an indication of the respect that Cody Rhodes brought in that match and what that injury kind of added story-wise to it.
Yeah, man.
Hell in a Cell as well. Like, if it wasn't enough that he was hurt, he had to fight in a no rules stipulation. So hopefully he gets cleared soon.
People are speculating Royal Rumble, which would just fit in perfectly, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, the
re-debut, if you want, the re-debut of Cody Rhodes, and for him to win in the Rumble.
He's said that he hasn't been given the timetable because I think his quote is that his doctors know if they tell him a time, he'll try and beat it.
Yeah.
He probably does have a time.
Well, that always happens with wrestlers. They have freakish healing abilities, don't they? You've seen it with like John Cena and people like that coming back.
Dedication to get back in front of a crowd.
Mad.
Another big story, which hasn't really led anywhere yet.
Not yet, no.
But we'll definitely pick it back up when it concludes. But MJF. He's really been playing this I'm going to go to WWE angle. It kind of boiled over on one of AEW's shows, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And
Dynamite.
He got pulled from a meet and greet, I think, or he left a meet and greet. There were rumours he had flown away, and he's not been seen in a while.
Yeah. So the timeline was there was a meet and greet on the Saturday that he didn't show up to, or he was pulled from. Either way, he had the match at the pay-per-view, can't remember which one it was, against Wardlow and lost. Turned up on Wednesday on the Dynamite, and that's when he cut that promo. And pretty epic promo, wasn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, isn't he cool to Tony Khan to fire him?
Yeah, asked him to fire him and calls him an effing mark.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, that was some big news and a great promo, and he's not been seen since.
Yeah, and it kind of, the longer it goes on, the more it feels like real. Because the heat is almost gone from it. Now, it could very easily, when he comes back, just reignite massively.
Absolutely.
But it feels like if it is just an AEW story, then...
Well, do you know what makes it feel even more real? Is now Vince McMahon is gone, linking into this.
Yeah.
Right. In a world of Vince McMahon and scripted promos in WWE, in my mind there was little sort of thought that MJF would actually go to WWE for those reasons. But he's gone now. Triple H is in charge, and you expect there to be a bit more creative freedom for wrestlers that go there. So I'm not saying it will happen or it's likely to happen, but there's that seed now that's been planted that's like, maybe it is more likely to happen that he could actually go.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it with the Vince going as it being an added thing, but we'll definitely have to bring that back up when we get some more information, whether he reappears in AEW, appears in WWE, or appears somewhere else. Obviously, those are the two that people are most interested in, but he could appear Impact, New Japan.
Imagine that if he turns up in Impact.
As long as it's not control your narrative, I don't think people are going to complain too much.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to control his narrative. Fit perfectly.
The last big news story. I'll say big. There's been so much.
Yeah, just as we've sat here, more and more is popping into my head, like the TV14 stuff that we just mentioned.
But the last big one is a walkout on WWE's side. Sasha Banks and Naomi, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the story is that they were due to face opposite champions at pre-Money in the Bank. It's been so long.
Is it Extreme Rules?
It might have been Extreme Rules. It's been so long, my mind's a bit of a muddle about what pay-per-view it was. But they were both due to have title matches and kind of disappointed because they were the tag team champions. They wanted to defend their titles. They wanted to make those titles mean something, which to fans, they really don't at the minute. Like,
are they even on anyone?
They've not been seen since this event. And no one's really minded. It is one of the least developed divisions WWE has, and that is saying something. But the story goes that they went backstage and basically gave them the titles and was like, we're not going to use them, you can have them. And then walked out of the show and haven't been seen or heard of since. Now, the main talking point really was that WWE had Michael Cole
throw him under the bus
on commentary and be like, oh, they've left out and disappointed all their fans, which is a very Vince McMahon thing. But as you said with MJF, now that Vince is gone, does that open the door back up for them to return? Kind of depends what offers they've had.
There's been rumours that they've actually been let go.
Yeah.
But no one knows.
It's been back and forth for quite a while, and again, as neither of them have appeared anywhere else, there's that uncertainty. But as it comes back to our main talking point, now that WWE has a different figurehead, could there be some change of that? Or did the problems run too deep? I
personally don't think we'll see either of them again. In Sasha Banks' case, in wrestling, full stop, for a long time, I think she's Hollywood bound. She knows her worth. So does Naomi. $30,000
dollars, apparently. That was what she was rumoured to be charging for.
Oh, really? For bookings?
Bookings.
Bloody hell. Fair play to her. I mean, she put up her name. She's kind of like mainstream in a way, isn't she? On The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite mainstream, but
I'd say she's on
trying to break it into.
Well, mainstream is very difficult to define, but I'd say probably on the fringes of mainstream. There are going to be people who know of her who don't watch WWE.
Well, if rumours to be believed, both their contracts are up or are very close to being up. Yeah. So I don't think we'll see him again, to be honest, which is a shame because I like both of them, Sasha more than Naomi. But look,
I was a big fan of Naomi's Feel the Glow title run, although it did break
someone has to be
my TV a little bit, like the blue glow. My TV could not handle it at the time. It just used to go all blocky.
Oh dear. No, I mean it's big news, and like you say, the tag titles haven't been seen last week on NXT, one of the women's tag titles was thrown in the bin.
Yeah.
By Cora Jade. I mean, it fit into the story, but if there's ever sort of like an image to perfectly show what those titles mean in WWE, it's one of them in the bin.
Yeah.
That kind of shows how they've been treated since they sort of began a couple of years ago, wasn't it now, I think?
Yeah, they've been terribly booked. It's always just been like random teams put together. They break.
There's no tag teams in
No.
WWE full stop, let alone women's tag teams. It's crazy.
But that brings us back again, because the reason there is no tag teams is because Vince McMahon doesn't like tag team wrestling. It's been mentioned so many times over the years, he just doesn't get it. But Vince is gone.
Well, I think what he said is, why would I pay 4 people when I could pay 2 people? I mean, there is some logic to that. It's messed up logic.
Apart from the fact you're paying people anyway.
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. It's stupid.
Um,
And if there's ever sort of a theory to break a rule, if you want, well, that's a completely wrong phrase, but if there's ever anything to break Vince McMahon's theories, it was FTR and the Briscoes match that just happened.
yeah.
That just headlined Death Before Dishonor at Ring of Honor. Insane. Absolutely insane. There's money in tag team wrestling, and you don't have to be a genius to see that.
Now, obviously, the big talking point, we've got to talk about Vince. We've got to talk about his left.
What? Sorry.
We'll touch upon the timeline for this because it was kind of chaotic, but I don't want to go too much into that because it is a bit of a weird situation, which I don't think we can really give too much insight into.
No.
So I think it starts with Stephanie McMahon stepping down from her role in WWE.
Yeah.
That was the
To
first.
spend more time at home with her family.
Yeah. And then it was kind of leaked that maybe she was forced out. Who knows on that? And there was a bit of there's a little bit of a reshuffle going on in WWE. And then a couple of weeks later, breaking news from the Wall Street Journal, so like a legitimate news source, not a wrestling news source, that Vince McMahon has paid $3 million, I think it was, or something like that, dollars
Initially,
to a woman after having an affair with her, which at best is scummy and at worst is criminal.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. Like, we don't know the full details of it,
No.
but at best it's a bit scummy, at worst it's illegal.
And at this stage,
Yeah.
they are just allegations. So I don't want to get in trouble. They are just allegations.
Now, Vince did he step down first or did he come out on SmackDown?
I think WWE released a statement saying there's going to be internal investigation, and whilst this investigations are going on, Stephanie is going to be temporary CEO, and Vince is not going to do his duties. Or
Yeah,
whatever
he was just going to be. He was temporarily stepping down as CEO.
But he was still in full charge of creative and sort of there day to day.
He appeared on SmackDown.
Yep.
And got some cheers and stuff, which was a little bit cringe. But
It's
then
scummy.
you imagine that not everyone in the arena follows all the news stories.
No.
So to them, maybe he's just Vince McMahon. Like, of course he's gonna get a cheer. Like, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna hate on people if they don't know the story. Like, that's
Yeah, it's not the fans' fault.
It was still a bit weird that he came out. It was kind of like he was rubbing it in people's face. Like, look, I can do what I want.
It's just very much him going, I'm still here.
He appeared again on Raw to well, on SmackDown he didn't really do anything. He just kind of went, "Welcome to SmackDown," and then left. And on Raw he did a very similar thing where he came out, did nothing, and then left. And it was like
it's just him flexing his muscles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But
Peacocking around.
then more stories came out that were allegedly a little bit more on the illegal side than the just creepy side. Suggestions of like firing someone after they wouldn't reciprocate things. Again, don't know if the allegations are true, but
it's not looking good.
It's not looking good at that point. It's not really an excusable thing, and most people agreed that this could be the end of Vince McMahon. Did the third allegation break before? No, the third one broke afterwards. So then we get to last Friday.
At 7-8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, just before
bedtime,
like a few hours before SmackDown, and in a tweet, Vince McMahon retires.
It wasn't even a very well put together tweet.
No.
Yeah, that's the bombshell that no one pretty much ever thought they'd see.
Yeah.
At 77 years old, I retire or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so there was a third, or maybe fourth, it's hard to keep track sometimes, allegation that he may have used company money to pay off someone without declaring it, which I'm not a lawyer, but it does kind of sound like embezzlement, which is a big deal. So his time as a head of WWE is over, but his time in the spotlight might not be, but it's all for the wrong reason.
Yeah. Definitely. And now the new structure of WWE looks like this. So at the top you've got a joint CEO of Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, who's rubbing his hands together.
Yeah.
I can't believe where he's got to. And in charge of creative now you've got Triple H, and in charge of NXT you've got Shawn Michaels, which is kind of hard to believe that Shawn Michaels and Triple H pretty much running creative on WWE's main products.
Now, we've had, I'm not going to count SmackDown, it was a few hours before, and it seems like it was kind of quite a rushed plan. And I think up until SummerSlam in a week, not much is going to change. No. Like, not in front of the camera, you've got storylines in full swing. I imagine things would stay pretty much as they were planned. But post SummerSlam, I think was when we'll see some changes. That being said, there was some small things on Raw that we picked up on that may have been Triple H ideas.
Yeah.
We could just be looking too much into it. It could have been the plan all along, but they just feel a little bit more different. We might be looking for things like that, but one of them for me was the opening.
Oh yeah, it didn't start with a massive long promo train.
It just started straight away with a bit of action. Miz and Logan Paul just beating each other up. No, like they called Logan Paul called the Miz out. Yeah. Before the show started, they showed a clip a little bit later, but as soon as you turn on Raw, you just got fight. It
actually threw me off when I started watching. I was like, "Have I missed something here? Like, where's the promo at the beginning of Raw?"
Yeah, really, really dramatic. Again, might be looking too much into it, but I thought it was a refreshing change.
I think that was very deliberate.
There was obviously references to Vince leaving from Roman, and the other thing I would say, there was we said Vince doesn't like tag team matches. There was a lot of tag team matches on Raw.
There was. It did make me laugh that the first proper match of this new era without Vince McMahon ended in a DQ though. That made me laugh a lot.
WWE will always WWE.
I bet so many people are like, for fuck's sake, come on man, give us a break. That did make me chuckle.
Yeah.
I have to admit. But we are in this new dawn, and like you say, post SummerSlam, I think that's obviously when the changes are going to happen. I'm really looking forward to the run into WrestleMania.
Well,
see what happens there.
I don't think we've actually mentioned it with podcasts, right? But we've got Clash at the Castle, which is now a Triple H led pay-per-view.
Oh my gosh!
Which suddenly just became that bit more interesting. I was excited for it anyway, as we are fortunate enough to be going.
We are going. Still need to book a hotel.
But now that it's Triple H one, it
could be
in
epic.
Theory the first proper Triple H led pay-per-view.
Yep.
So
with a Triple H guy potentially being crowned as champion in Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. So we got a lot of interesting things for that. We'll circle back to Clash of the Castle a little bit later. But I thought a fun thing to kind of discuss would be some potential changes that Triple H could implement, and kind of like the basis for that is Black and Gold NXT. We know kind of what his style is.
Yeah, it's booking style.
So I was trying to think of the right phrase, but I can't come up with it. But you heard the phrase "the canary in the mine." In the mine, it's kind of the warning signs that bad things are going to happen when the canary dies. Get out. Well, I feel like there's going to be opposite here.
Right.
Like small good things that are kind of suggesting of WWE's new approach, because you can't dramatically change overnight.
No, of course not.
It'll be gradual. There'll be little things to look out for, and one of them for me is the rebooking of certain NXT stars.
Oh yeah.
Now, we already saw a little bit of that. Tommaso Ciampa got a great little promo on Raw. Like,
he was one of Triple H's best guys.
Yeah, he really kind of stole that moment. And although it's weird that he's in this match booking, like all of a sudden it made a little bit more sense. And it's like, oh yeah, like, forget Tommaso Ciampa's great. Like more of that, please. The other one is names. There's a
Yes.
lot of people who have lost
Yeah.
part of their name, and whether they start coming back could be interesting. There's a few that I think won't. I think Gunther might stick over Walter. People it's starting to grow on people. I think that's fine.
It's become normal now.
I think the surname thing might.
Yeah.
Like whether if they start referring to him as Austin Theory again.
Yep.
If we get Matt Riddle, Shotzi Blackheart.
Rick O'Shea. I couldn't think of any.
Yeah, a few names like that. A few surnames come back. Maybe you could even have a few of the guys who have their names changed.
Yeah.
Start reusing their old name. Pete Dunne, Piper Niven.
Yep.
These names start popping up. I'm not saying they would, but if they do, that's kind of a good sign to me. The way the movie is going. It's
going in the
undoing
right
a few
direction.
of Vince's more quirky decisions.
I think another one is obviously just the bookings in general.
Yeah.
Like if it just not big beefy guys at the top. I think like Ricochet is a pretty good example. Like what is Ricochet at the minute?
I haven't
He's
seen
just
him in a
another
while.
guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
But on NXT it was amazing the way he was presented.
Yeah.
And so many other people were. Ciampa, another one, like you say. Shotzi, another one. Like if these Triple H true and trusted people start getting booked in a way that they were on NXT, oh man, we're looking at a good thing, I think here.
No, they
It's exciting.
don't necessarily all have to even go to the top of the. We don't need to have like Bobby Roode
No, of course
re-debut the Glorious One or whatever his nickname was and beat Roman Reigns. We don't need that. But if he comes back to face Bobby Lashley,
not. Yeah,
and they elevate that US title a little bit, that's good. Like it should be elevated. It should feel important, and I think a few things like that would be nice to see.
maybe we'll get LA Knight, back instead
Maybe.
of Max Dupree.
Well, there is some weirdness with him. He wasn't on
Yeah.
SmackDown, so again, he's someone who could
Taken out of his own stable, replaced by his sister.
re-debut back as his old character. We've got interesting ones because we've got Edge coming back soon,
You do?
and what happens with his character will be interesting now.
There's so many just
There's
ifs,
a
buts and maybes.
There's a
isn't
few people who got either released or are free agents that you could maybe see
there? Yeah, I can imagine.
a branch being reached out to.
After sitting out his free agency, Johnny Gargano's there with a massive grin on his face, thinking, well, there's an opportunity for me here. Like, if he went to the main roster under Vince, the size of that guy, I think he's smaller than me. He's probably like 5'8" potentially. And look, he's in shape, but he's not a Vince guy,
No.
is he? He's not Jack. So
He was a Triple H guy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And he is great.
There's been talks online about Bray Wyatt because one of the reasons he was let go was kind of a disagreement about creative decisions. Well, if creative is changing slightly, could that open the door for a Fiend return? Triple H booked Fiend? I'd be interested.
Sounds like a car wreck to me, but we'll see.
Now, a weird thing to think about though is what happens to NXT, because NXT got taken off Triple H and turned into like the Vince
That's a good
thing.
thing.
What happens to it now? Because it can't go back to the black and gold brand.
No.
You can maybe drop the actually saying 2.0, but you've got to stick with this new thing. But I think you've just got to make it work. And without some of the shackles that Vince imposes on his talent, I think Shawn Michaels can do it. He gets the changing landscape of wrestling. Allegedly, like he had a conversation with I think Kevin Nash. They were at the performance center. It's like there's training some people, and they're doing like ridiculous, like high work rate, crazy practicing stuff. And Kevin Nash is going, "Oh, what? You need to slow it down a little bit. Like this is too intense." And Sean's like, no, this is what people like nowadays. Like we got to do this.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
It's like it's not difficult to understand what your audience likes. It's just Vince.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with NXT because the whole point of NXT, although it's a TV show, is that it trains people for the main roster. It's developmental. That's the whole point of it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big show to see how they want the main roster to be down the line, isn't it? If they're getting all these big beefy guys again, like Bron Breakker,
Yeah.
and people like that.
I think it needs to be a little bit of a mix. Like to go,
yeah.
it can't go like the super indie show, like NXT kind of
Like it
was,
used to be.
because AEW has kind of taken that market. Do you really want to try and out AEW?
Well, they've got all of the Triple H guys now.
Yeah.
Undisputed Era, Keith Lee, Swerve, all these people.
Do you want to try and out AEW? No, you want to be the best WWE.
Well, AEW is now a better version of what NXT used to be.
Yeah.
Essentially, so I think all of the fans that you had there have now gone over. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard winning them back.
Yeah, I feel like the Cody Rhodes Seth matches were all your kind of NXT AEW style matches. I'd say quite long, big, dramatic matches, multiple false finishes and things like that. And it worked, but I think it worked really well in WWE because there was a variety of stuff. It's like we'll talk about it later, but we've got a match at SummerSlam, which is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, last man standing. You can't turn that into a work rate match, but it doesn't need. You don't want it to be. You just want 10 minutes of two guys.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Throwing whatever big moves they've got at each other, and as long as you've got some good work rate matches on the card as well, that works. Like that's fine. One of my favourite matches over the last few years, I would argue it's not even that great of a match, but it was just a great segment. I really enjoyed it. Was Dolph Ziggler versus Goldberg.
Yeah, that was good.
Like it just was fun
worked.
and it worked. Like Goldberg just destroyed him and then came back and destroyed him again and then came back and destroyed him again. I think it was like 4 times he did it. It was great, but it only works in isolation. If you do it too much, then it's a bit shit. But
a whole new world. Sorry, I've just had it in my head for ages.
We're going to do some SummerSlam predictions, but let's do some Triple H era predictions.
Okay,
just a few out there things, because we know some story beats that are playing out that might need a resolution. But now Triple H has got to figure out. He didn't have to figure out by himself, but he's got to make the decision. So how they play out is completely up for grabs. So Roman Reigns title reign.
I think it goes to Mania.
Yeah.
I don't think he loses to Brock.
Both belts to Mania?
Yeah, I do. And I think it. The thing is, what we've been led to believe that they're building towards is The Rock, right? At Hollywood, Mania at Hollywood.
Something that to me doesn't make sense to be for the title.
But how do you get the titles off of him and still keep the stakes?
Universal is the title that he's held the longest.
Yeah.
WWE is his short title reign one. I would have some announcement that he has to defend both titles separately.
Does Drew win the WWE at Clash?
Drew facing for the WWE wins, and then as you start to build the seeds of doubt into Roman Reigns, you got to build some issue for him going into the WrestleMania for The Rock. That's when you take the gamble, because it's a Universal title, and no one really cares about the Universal title.
No, not at all.
So that's when you have Theory cash in.
Okay.
You then just have Roman, a great Roman promo, calling out everyone that like Theory had to cheat to win, whatever, like something. Everyone's been working against him to take because they know how good he is. Blah 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 blah. He's the best. He's the tribal chief, and then you build like The Rock kind of being like, "No, you keep talking shit about everyone. Well, we're gonna fight." You've got him as the face, and then you've got it just for who is the best in the family. And then you don't know necessarily who's going to win that match.
I suppose so.
But if it's for the title, The Rock's not coming back. He's not going to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Or if he is, we're back in the problem of the champion's never on the show. Which...
Unless he's taking Sami Zayn's gimmick and becoming a great liberator and just making him vacant.
So... I feel like if it is for the title, Roman's just going to win, and then you've still got the problem of who takes them off him. I think taking them off him before that is better, but...
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it, really? But I do think that's obviously what they're building towards.
I'm not saying I think that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that would be an idea. I'm pretty sure professional writers could do a lot better job than I just did.
Well... You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? I'm not too convinced of that sometimes with WWE, but...
Yeah, well, we'll see over the next few months.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I think one of my predictions is that Gunther is going to become world champion in the next 2 years. Him or Ricochet. I can't decide which one. Potentially both.
Okay.
Maybe the mid-card tables the mid-card titles actually start meaning something. There's some stakes on them. The way that he booked the what is it, North American title on NXT?
Is that the brown?
Yeah.
Strapped one. Yeah.
Yeah. The way he booked that to actually mean something and not just be like this secondary title.
Yeah.
If he started doing that with the US and Intercontinental, and there was actually some stakes to it, that would be good. Maybe the Intercontinental title will actually get booked onto a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, the two champions are in a great position for a Triple H rebuild of those divisions.
Well, who is there? It's Gunther,
Bobby Lashley
and Bobby.
And Gunther. Both are big guys who is always good if you got that. It's the David and Goliath story.
Exactly.
You've got to build that, and if you're doing a kind of a changing the guard, you could have you could have Ricochet or Finn Balor or Sami Zayn face
Gargano
if he comes back. Ciampa. You could have any of these guys face Bobby Lashley for the title.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of started to build that division.
That's it.
The women's division will be an interesting one. It was great in NXT.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was the best women's division, arguably, in the world at one point. Look at the women that's come through there.
Yeah.
Bayley, Sasha, Alexa Bliss. Why can't I think of any more?
Charlotte,
of course. Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Asuka,
who had a ridiculous
Becky Lynch
title reign. Shayna Baszler, who's another person who could be repackaged under Triple H.
That makes me excited. Proper Shayna Baszler and not just this guff one we've got at the minute. The tag teams with Natalya.
There's so much to be optimistic about coming soon.
There is. We're in that stage at the minute that is the optimistic bit. Nothing's happened that's properly changed yet. There's still hope that it could change and become better.
There is one more reverse canary in the mine for me.
Okay.
I'm coining that term. Survivor Series.
I don't think anyone else will want it off of you, to be honest.
Survivor Series. It's already in a bit of a weird position, even if Vince was still in charge. The tag titles and main titles are both quote-unquote unified. So the thing we've had for the last few years of all the champions face each other can't really work this year. As it stands at the minute, obviously plenty of time to change until November.
I think so.
But there's been a lot of criticism for years about WWE's use of Survivor Series in that no one has any brand loyalty because they keep switching every few weeks. So
in the last few years they've had the draft a month before or something ridiculous like that.
So having this brand versus brand pay-per-view doesn't really work.
No.
Now we've got Triple H. I don't know what Triple H thinks about
what does it become?
Survivor Series, but how he books Survivor Series could be a big tell. I'm not saying it is because
the thing is traditionally it was always one of the big four, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's slipped off of that. I think no one really cares.
I think Money in the Bank is the new four.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But I think that's because you get a reward from it.
Yeah. There's nothing. Survivor Series is just there, isn't
Mania and SummerSlam are you kind of...
Yeah. Does anyone really care about brand loyalty now? Like, back in the day, I think some people did. Especially like us, because we had access to one show to watch rather than the other. Like, I always had access to watch SmackDown, so I always drew towards SmackDown. I think it was similar for you with Raw.
Yeah.
So you only had Raw, so you drew towards Raw. So naturally on these shows, I'd be like, yeah, come on SmackDown, I want you to win. But now, and especially with like wrestlers interacting between shows, like this week we saw Drew McIntyre turn up, and
I don't know what brand like anyone's on anymore.
Well, exactly, yeah. So there is no brand loyalty. There's no brand split really now, is there?
We went, was it last year, earlier this year? I can't remember times. We went to see SmackDown in the UK. Last year. I couldn't figure out who was going to see. No. I had to look it up because you can watch SmackDown and you'll see about 10 Raw superstars. So
the brand-to-brand invitational.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever the hell that is. Yeah, it could be so much Survivor Series. It could just be like a pay-per-view full of survival-type matches. Like an I Quit match, for one, like in the main event. Hell in a Cell and another one. A cage match, I don't know, like all sorts of different things that you could do.
I'm not expecting a lot of branding changes in the next Yeah, but post next year, as we go to the future, there is potential then as well that we'll see the disappearance of shows like Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. The gimmick pay-per-views.
The gimmick pay-per-views. There's only two that I would keep personally, which is Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Royal Rumble, I suppose that counts as well. I like Elimination Chamber as that kind of like last chance for Mania.
Yeah, it's a good concept.
So I think that one. But remember when WWE did Fatal 4-Way?
Oh god, there was another one that I was just thinking. It was just all submission matches as well.
Breaking Point.
That was it.
At least that had a good name.
Well, yeah, it's not just called Submission Night or something.
WWE presents Tap Out.
Yeah,
Tap Out's already a brand, so it's probably why they couldn't use it. I bet they would have.
Yeah.
There's lots to be optimistic about. Now, it's not all perfect. Let's give Vince the small bit of credit. He does deserve that. He did create the WWE that we fell in love with.
He did.
Let's not forget about that. As much shitty things as he's done, and there are a lot, let's not forget that he did create the WWE that we and many others fell in love with. Whether you started watching in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, he had some great ideas over the years. He did so many good things that there is that chance that without its captain, the ship will sink. I'm not predicting it's going to happen. I'm not saying it will. I think Triple H is good at his job, but we can't not mention that it's a difficult job. Look at how many promotions have failed.
Yeah, mainly because of him killing the territories.
Well, he killed the territories. He beat WCW. There's always that chance. I hope it doesn't come to pass because I really like watching WWE, and
it won't go past.
Even when it's shit, I always get a little bit of enjoyment from it. So I'm hoping we do get the good outcome of Vince leaving and not the bad one.
I think there's a higher percentage that it will go well than worse. And obviously it's worth mentioning all the good memories that Vince has given us over the years throughout WWE, with his character, with all the characters he created. I think a lot of people online and just in general have struggled to sort of differentiate those great memories with these shitty things that he's alleged to have done.
Yeah.
And they're almost defending him in a way, going, oh yeah, he's changed my life, or he's done all these things, and I'll be forever grateful and stuff. Right, you can do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But also acknowledge that, yes, he's probably a shitty person that's done all these bad things. So it's just it's a weird situation, and understand that, but it is important to differentiate.
Yeah, we're all going to have fond memories and stuff that he is responsible for. And unfortunately, many people are going to have negative memories. Yeah. Now...
But in a way, he's the reason that probably a large percentage of wrestling fans go into wrestling. He is for us too.
I'd say in English-speaking countries, I'd say most wrestling fans got into it because of WWE. Now, that doesn't excuse any shitty thing he's done.
No,
absolutely not. But I saw a lot of people complaining about the "Thank you, Vince" chant on SmackDown. Raw? SmackDown, yeah. Now, it was a bit weird, and there is that feeling of awkwardness because of the controversy. But at the same time, I get the sentiment. They are thankful for what he has given them, not thankful for the shitty things he's done. Now,
do you know, I didn't mind the organic chant too much.
Yeah.
The bit was when Stephanie led the chant as "Thank you, Vince." That's where it got grotty. That's where it got a bit questionable. If it was just this lovable old man that's retired, yeah, fine. But you can't just ignore all of that background to why this has happened, and with the company leading the narrative, it's not great. It's not a great look. It's not a great look.
They are just allegations, but
it's a very dark cloud looming over everything.
It would not surprise me if they were true. No. I don't want to get cease and desisted by WWE on the off chance they are listening, which is why we keep saying just allegations. You never know, but it feels fairly substantiated, these claims. So
yeah, there's no smoke without fire and all that.
No.
But look, they are allegations.
We're just trying to save our podcast from legal repercussions. Not not commenting on anything specifically, but like
Yeah. SummerSlam then.
SummerSlam, yeah. Now, predictions are going to be really fucking difficult this time because we always predict based on what would WWE do, but
Yeah.
really, that has always been what would Vince McMahon do, and now it's what would Triple H do. And my Triple H guesses are nowhere near as good. I remember doing predictions before the podcast. I clean sweeped you at one pay-per-view.
You did.
We got to an NXT and I got them all wrong.
Yep. That's it.
So I'm a little bit nervous about this one because to celebrate the return of the podcast, we've decided on a special punishment.
We have indeed. Do you want to enlighten our listeners as to what this punishment is?
Yeah, because we are going to a WWE event, it felt like a good time to kind of tie everything together. And just so happened that while we were thinking up ideas, WWE debuted the Maximum Male Models program on SmackDown. Now, that gave me the idea. I can't remember exactly what I referred to it as. I'm going to try and remember. And I think I called it the Figure Forecast Fantastic Fashion...
I can't remember.
something beginning with F. And
Frenzy.
Frenzy.
Let's go for Frenzy.
The basic idea is that the loser of the SummerSlam predictions will have to go onto a shopping website of their choice, search for 5 items of clothing by cheapest first, and purchase them. And then that is the outfit they wear. So they will have shoes, trousers, a top, a jacket, and an accessory. Now you can be a little bit more specific with that on certain things like shoes. If you go cheapest, you're getting flip-flops. So you might want to pick an actual shoe because it's England, it will probably be raining. Flip-flops might not be the best shout. But we'll do a video of that getting purchased, and then we'll have a video of clips from the event wearing the ridiculous outfit. I think it's going to be fun. I've had a quick look at some of the cheapest things on a couple of websites, and it could be terrible.
Yeah, I've no doubt about that.
So that'll be our punishment. I'm hoping it's a good one. I feel like we need to lean into it being bad, not just play it, because we could just play it safe and be like, I'm just going to pick like grey for everything, and it's like, well, it's a little bit boring, but
no, you go hard or go home.
Yeah, I feel like the winner should get a little bit of vetoing power about some of the choices.
I think that's fair.
Again, cheapest, so we're not having to spend a lot of money. Mm-hmm. It's 5 items that could only cost a £5. You might get everything for £1, but
we'll see.
It should be a fun one. Now, let's get up the announced matches for SummerSlam.
Yep.
So our first match being advertised for SummerSlam, a recent addition, the Mysterios versus Judgment Day in a no disqualification tag team match, is announced on Raw. Who have you got for your prediction and why?
I think the Mysterios, because Edge returns, helps them against the Judgment Day, and they win.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Judgment Day.
Okay.
I think they need a big win.
They do.
And beating the Mysterios at SummerSlam could be a big moment, and then you can build going forward. I think Vince would have gone with the Mysterios, but I'm hoping Triple H goes with the Judgment Day. Might need a new name, but I feel like the stable having a win and can build on to something would be good. Because I do like them as a stable. They just need a little bit of
they need a bit of a tweak.
A little bit of a tweak, but I am interested in what can happen with them.
Cool. Next match that we've got on the card, Logan Paul against The Miz. Who you got?
Just a straight singles match, which makes it a little bit more interesting because I don't know what role Tommaso Ciampa is going to play in it.
That's a good point.
I really don't know because I feel like Logan Paul needs a win because I think Logan Paul needs to turn heel.
He definitely does.
And basically needs to become The Miz 2000 and whatever when The Miz first came to WWE. He needs to be that doesn't belong here kind of cocky guy.
Logan Paul's not likeable in real life.
So I think Logan Paul has to win here.
I agree. I've got Logan Paul winning as well.
Could
no specific reason. I don't know how.
I just think he's just kind of got to win. I think for this relationship between Logan Paul and WWE to work, and I think it should because I've liked what I've seen so far. So
he's good. He's good. Fair play to the guy. He's good.
Match number 3 is Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship.
To be honest, it's a tricky one for me because I've not really seen too much on the shows leading up to this. I know Becky's on like a bit of a an arc where she wasn't winning, and then she got that win over Asuka, potentially on the upwards curve. For me, I think it's redemption for Bianca. After last SummerSlam, I believe, is when Becky returned and won the title off of Bianca. So I think it's a Bianca retention for me. She keeps the titles.
I agree. I think Bianca Belair is going to win. I'd be more invested in this if we hadn't had the Mania match, because now we've had our 3 big yearly pay-per-views.
Yeah.
SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and now SummerSlam again, where we've got the same match. I'm just going to go Bianca Belair for a prediction, but my original thought before Triple H took over, it's a very Vince McMahon thing to do, but it could still work under Triple H. Bianca Belair wins straight away, like really quickly.
That's a good idea.
A flip of last year. Now, I don't want WWE to do that, but I can kind of see it happening. Don't know if Triple H would do it.
I think they might play up to it now, but I don't think it will happen.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go with Bianca Belair, but that's the kind of thought in the back of my head. Yeah.
Next match is the other women's tag match. The other women's title match, the SmackDown women's title, where we've got Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. On paper, bit of a mismatch. You've got Ronda Rousey, rah, and you got Liv Morgan. In my head, I have her as like the Hulk, like Ronda smash. But anyway, what's your thoughts on this one? Is Ronda gonna smash?
See, I think jumping back into the rematch so soon is a mistake, because how does Liv Morgan win this match? I don't know, because Ronda has been built up so much as so unstoppable.
Yeah, she's the Brock Lesnar of the women's division.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Absolutely.
She has that legitimateness that now, and I don't think Liv Morgan has been built up to the level of where you can see her winning. That being said, I really, really want them to keep the title on Liv Morgan.
Me too. I think they will. I just don't know how.
But I'm going to go Ronda Rousey, because I can't think of how you book that match and have Liv win without kind of deflating the kind of the
I completely get you.
The aura of Ronda Rousey.
I'm on the exact same trail of thought as you, but I'm going to go Liv Morgan. I have no idea how she retains, but like you said, I think it's just way too soon.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I really do.
Potentially Natalya getting involved.
Potentially.
Who knows? That's the only thing I think, shenanigans, but what shenanigans?
Yeah, there is still one episode of SmackDown to sow something. Maybe it will become a triple threat. Maybe it will become a certain match type. There's things that could change to make it a little bit easier. But as it stands right now, those are our predictions.
Yep.
Our next matchup is the tag team match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship with Jeff Jarrett as special guest referee.
Yeah, how did that come around? So I watched last SmackDown, but not the ones before that, and it was all of a sudden Jeff Jarrett's special guest referee. I'm like, what?
It just came about. They were announced they were going to say who it was, and I thought it might be, I can't think of his name, the Usos' cousin who's in NXT.
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean. I can't think of his name. Solo Sikoa or something like that, I think.
I thought it would be someone related to the bloodline.
Yeah.
Because I thought that'd be a really interesting way of bringing that in and kind of do something.
I'm not against it. Double J.
But they went with Double J. It's a weird one. Who are you going to predict?
I'm going Usos to retain, and potentially the start of the Montez Ford solo run. The reaction he's getting is crazy.
I'm going to go with the Street Profits to win.
Okay.
Although I do think a Montez Ford solo run is on the horizon, I think the Street Profits need one big moment as a team to go out on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that'd be a good turning point, and then you kind of start to build into the losing the title separation. But I think that'd be really good. Plus, I think having all the titles on the Bloodline, although it is good and it is a Triple H sort of thing, remember in Undisputed Era, I think and it would strengthen the show a little bit to kind of move some titles around a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we've got another difference at least. So, the next match we've got is Big Bad Bobby Lashley against the man with one name, Theory. US title on the line. Who's coming out on top?
I'm going Bobby Lashley. I I think it
I don't
makes
think
more
you really,
sense.
Yeah, you don't really need to give any sort of explanation because I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a good story with Theory as the champion. They've done that several times in the past, but I think Bobby Lashley is a better person to take the title forward going into the new era. Theory's already got the briefcase. You've already got stories.
Completely agree.
So
completely agree. And now we come to
our penultimate match is
the one that I'm pretty much most excited for.
Really?
It's got one of my favourites in there.
That is Pat McAfee versus
My
Happy
man.
Corbin.
I've got to back my guy. I'm going Pat.
You going
Pat
Pat?
all day. Future WWE champion. That should have been one of my predictions. Him to become WWE champion. That is what I'm going to say. But yeah, Pat McAfee to beat bum-ass Corbin.
I agree on this one. It makes more sense. Baron Corbin, Happy Corbin, whatever.
Bum-ass Corbin.
Just Corbin. He needs a new name. He is WWE's go-to guy for the kind of unlikable character, and I don't think a loss hurts him at all. But
no, it doesn't hurt his character at all.
It kind of, if anything, it kind of strengthens his character, gives him another avenue to push on.
Yeah.
It's like he's angry about something, you move on to something else. Also, Pat McAfee is just kind of amazing.
He's awesome at everything.
So yeah, you gotta back him. I'm hoping it's a fun match
for sure. And now it's time for the main event. Roman, the big dog, Reigns. He's not called Big Dog now, is he?
No, he's Tribal Chief.
The Tribal Chief, Big Oos, Roman Reigns against. You can do it.
Oh, I'm not doing a Paul Heyman impression.
Brock Lesnar for the universe. What is it? The Undisputed Championship.
Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which is quite a mouthful.
Yeah, I'll just go Undisputed title. Roman Reigns. I said it earlier.
Yeah.
He's going to Mania, baby.
I was talking about this before the podcast, that this was my example of booking under Triple H being a little bit more difficult because surely Roman has to win. But at the same time, there's that tiny little bit of doubt of...
But there's not enough doubt for me.
Maybe Triple H would swerve us. It's not... I'm going to go with Roman Reigns because it feels like the clear and obvious one. Especially
it's the VAR one.
Especially with the rumours that Brock left SmackDown. Wasn't happy after Vince has left. Could be the last time we see Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That being said, an idea I did have was to separate the titles. I don't think WWE would do it, but I could also, in some way, see it is a draw.
No.
It was my thought before Vince.
Go for a draw.
It was my thought before Vince retired that they would have a draw and re-separate the titles because both men won.
Go for a draw and then get picking your outfit straight after we finish recording.
But I obviously am going to go for Roman Reigns.
Okay. That kind of leads me into the next one that I want to throw into the mix. Will there be a successful cash-in from Austin Theory? They've been teasing it, and I think he will come out potentially and tease it. But is there going to be a successful one?
Tease, yes. Success, no.
So they're going to tickle your balls with no end product.
I think there might be a heist of the century fake out.
Yeah, and he'll just get absolutely smashed by both guys.
Yeah, like he's going to run out and then he's just going to eat, before he can cash in, he's just going to eat like a spear from Roman or something. And or, because he has nothing to do on the card, could Seth Rollins get involved?
Steal the briefcase.
I'm not predicting this because this is completely out there, but it has just come to mind. Both men are down. Austin Theory's music hits. He comes out like to cash in, but as he's coming down, Seth Rollins attacks him, takes the briefcase, tries to cash it in himself.
That's how contracts work.
And pins one of them. Because if you cash in a last man standing match, are you just having a singles match?
I forgot his last man standing. Oh god. Yeah.
So I'm not going to predict it because it's so out there. But at the same time, if it does happen, I want credit.
Okay. Fine.
It's not a point. I just
put
want
it into
credit.
the universe.
So
SummerSlam.
A final prediction. Because the match between Riddle and Seth Rollins is now off the card, allegedly Riddle is injured.
Yep.
They're saying it was in the attack that happened on Raw, but it
sounds like it's legit.
It sounds like it's legit, which is very unfortunate. There's been a lot of injuries in the last few months in both brands. Both companies, AEW and WWE, have suffered a lot. What's your prediction regarding Seth on the show?
I don't know, he put out that cryptic tweet, didn't he? And I kind of have a feeling he might come out do like a whiny promo that he's the best potentially, and then someone comes out and interrupts him.
Who are you predicting to come out and interrupt him?
Well,
'Cause I agree. I think that sort of thing is going to happen.
I've got a bad feeling in my stomach that it's Goldberg.
Okay.
Goldberg comes out and flattens him, is
So-
what I imagine.
You're going to predict Goldberg. My prediction,
The Undertaker! No.
not for a match, mind, but my prediction of the person that comes out is Triple H.
Okay,
I think Seth's going to call Triple H out
right.
about him not having a match, and then a Triple H guy is going to face Seth.
Johnny Gargano.
And that I don't know who that could, because that could be Johnny Gargano if he was available. It could be someone like I mentioned him earlier. It could be someone like Bobby Roode coming out as like NXT era Bobby Roode. We haven't seen him in a while, but some Triple H guy.
Okay. Yeah, so that's
coming
plausible.
out to face him after Seth calls Triple H out and is like, "Come on, you're the big boss now. Like, I deserve a match. Like all the work I've put in." Like, he's coming out. There's so many people it could be. Imagine the scenes if it was MJF. It won't be, but imagine.
Yeah, it won't be. You're right. It's
Like, it won't be. But...
Imagine the tears rolling down my face.
Whoa.
No. Well, there it is. That's SummerSlam for us.
That is SummerSlam. Hopefully, we have a really good show.
Well, I think Triple H does listen, and he knows that if the
matches are good, the show will be
Exactly. It's a good philosophy to live your wrestling life by.
good. We'll keep everyone updated on who won and who lost. More importantly, who lost the predictions.
And we'll be doing some special bits around Clash in the Castle, I'd imagine.
We are there in person. Oh God, I've just realised. Do we have to go to the What Culture thing in our ridiculous outfit?
Potentially. Maybe we'll meet Simon Miller like that.
Oh no.
No,
We'll put out some previews of the outfit and expect a video shortly after Clash at the Castle showing off the ridiculousness of what we wear.
I can't wait. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good one. Let's hope SummerSlam is equally as good.
Yeah.
It's been good doing this again. We should do it more often.
We definitely need to try and do it more often.
Things are settling down a bit more.
Yeah.
Been a crazy time.
Been a very crazy time.
To say the least. Well, thank you everyone for listening. As always, after 6 months, or no, 5 months, whatever it was. We'll be back again, hopefully, well definitely, sooner than this previous break, promise. Yeah. So thank you for listening. That's me signing off. Over to Damo.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. To keep up to date with all things Figure Forecast, you can follow us on Twitter at Figure4UK or follow us on Facebook by searching The Figure Forecast. Thank you. Goodbye.